Hey, this is Tony Sweet with Truth Be Told. Here at Contact in the Desert, we have a great guest on our show today. He's a speaker here at Contact in the Desert, Billy Carson. He is the founder of the ForbiddenKnowledge.com, and out here in Contact in the Desert, there's amazing speakers, experts from all over the world. And today, Billy is talking about proof of current ET life in our solar system and amazing structures on Venus. And so, for here at Truth Be Told, we get to the truth of the matter, and we want to find out through the experts and then people that do the research, so we don't have to do it. But we have Billy here. So tell us your lecture today. Like we said, people all over the world have flown in to hear you speak. So give us some of the background of what your current topics were for today's workshops.
Okay. Well, today's topics were basically about anomalies in space within our solar system that come from official sites like NASA, European Space Agency, the China Space Agency, the Indian Space Agency, and these are anomalies that are coming directly off their servers. Mm-hmm. Raw footage that we download, and then we actually go in and look for things that don't belong. Right. And we found literally thousands and tens of thousands of objects that don't belong.
Really? So, do we know what they are, or is it, or do people know and just not telling us?
Well, I think NASA and some of the other space agencies have a good idea maybe for what they are. I mean, we're not there, right. But ourselves, what we can only do is correlate them to what we see, things we see on Earth. So right. If we see something that looks like a wheel, we may say it might be a wheel, but we don't really know what it is. We just know that it doesn't belong, so we call it an anomaly. Sometimes we may correlate it to an object that we can identify with here, right. But there are a lot of similarities with objects on Mars and Mercury and Venus and some of the other moons that orbit Saturn and Jupiter that look like things that you would see on Earth.
Right. And so are some of these objects or anomalies, there's similarities, you said, throughout the solar system. So how long have we seen these, or how long when they were discovered?
Well, these things have been discovered going all the way back to the 1970s. I mean, the face on Mars was discovered in the 1970s. So we've known for a lot, we meaning the governments have known that there have been ancient civilizations and maybe even current civilizations inside of our own solar system, not far away, 20 million light years away, 100 million light years away. Right here where we live, right above our heads, there could be potentially life still here, whether it's microbial, whether it's viral, whether it's insects, or whether it's even mammals. We don't know, but I do believe that there's probably life in our solar system, and that some of these remnants that we're looking at, some of them don't appear to be completely dilapidated or destroyed. There might even be some inhabitants somewhere in our solar system, potentially on Mars.
Really? And so Mars is usually where we focus on, yeah. But you were talking about Venus. So other planets, like I said, we don't hear a lot about anomalies on other planets. So could you give us a little rundown of what we might find interesting on other planets?
Sure. Well, for example, on Venus, they claim that the barometric pressure is too high and that it's a soup. It's almost like an ocean when you get to the ground level, where the solid ground is located, and 800 degrees. Well, Russia sent 14 probes to Venus, the Venera probes. Mm-hmm. Several of them successfully landed and took pictures of the area and stop motion photography where you can see things that are moving around on the ground, number one. Number two, what kind of parachute can survive that kind of pressure and heat? I need to know right. What kind of material that is, because if that's the case, we should make buildings out of that kind right. of material, like towers. So I just think that there's a lie going on as to the real atmosphere of Venus. And one of the videos that I was looking to show today was the fact that now they're saying that there may be life in Venus's clouds, and they're sending a probe to go scour the clouds of Venus because they believe that there's algae living in the clouds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was an official press release by NASA.
So when on your presentation today, what do you feel like the most people found the most interesting?
I think they found the most interesting was the anomalies that I did show, that they were able to actually see with their own eyes objects that don't belong to the surrounding terrain, and it wasn't even hard to find them. It was like when you showed them, they instantly identified those objects with something in their mind, whatever it may be. But I think that they really got an idea today that there's probably or was an ancient civilization in our past that was alive here, and maybe they're the same people that helped build these megalithic structures on Earth, because the structures are very similar.
And the biggest question, I think, for all of us, even at Truth Be Told, is trying to find the truth and trying to find the answers. And one of the big questions we get, and it's in my mind, is why do you think the government and religion and all these that know a lot of the truth, why do you think they hold this back from us? It baffles many of us.
Well, there's a double agenda. One agenda is power, and knowledge is power. So when you have complete knowledge of a situation, you can then keep the people under control. So basically what happens is if we all knew that, for example, that there was an ancient civilization and that there was life, maybe is life in our own solar system, all of a sudden, all of the religious systems collapse. You're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar industry gone. The entire war machine collapses. There's no need for wars anymore. A multi-trillion-dollar powerhouse machine. Also, now we want to know, what are we doing there? We want to know if anybody's there. What's happening to the indigenous people, or what happened to this architecture or structures? Are you guys taking it apart? Is there any technology being discovered? Is there free energy? Is there, what kind of power sources did they have? Now we're asking too many questions. And that, again, now the energy system is a multi-trillion-dollar system that we have here. The monetary systems, everything now collapses when we have full knowledge of what's going on.
And I totally agree with that. One thing is when we look at Mars, and there's a lot of, looks like ancient civilizations, and even some of the ancient civilizations on our planet. Why do you feel the other planetary beings or maybe civilizations don't exist now? Do you think it was a major disaster? Do you think it was just evolution of die out, or what do you feel? How?
Well, I think that we had two major catastrophes in our solar system. The first one was when the planet, which is now the asteroid belt, exploded. That planet was called Tiamat in the ancient times, according to the Sumerians. And that's not coming from Zacharias Hitchin or any books. That's coming from actual tablets. Right. The actual tablet, the tablets of creation, called the Enuma Elish and the Atra-Asis epic, which were discovered way back in the 1600s and have been deciphered by many people before, all talk about this planet. And it basically had a collision with another planetary body. When it broke apart, a piece of it swung into where we are now and became the Earth. The other parts of it broke into chunks and became the asteroid belt. Mars was a moon of this planet. It slungshot into its own weird elliptical orbit and became a planet after it lost an orbit around that. The moon, another moon, which is our moon now, was also a moon of that planet, which is now our moon. That's why that moon up there we have now doesn't have any geological matching to what we have here on Earth. And basically there was a war. So that was the first one. After that, many millions of years later, in my opinion, there was a war, because when you look at Mohenjo-Daro, when you look at the Giza Plateau with all the balls of glass in the sand, we look at all the vitrified structures around our planet and all the legends of ancient wars in the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, and then you find out that there's vitrified particles on the moon, vitrified particles on Mars. There's xenon, weapons-grade xenon in Mars' atmosphere. And now you're going, okay, wait a minute, this is a war, and it may be an interplanetary war. So if you have that kind of war and that type of destruction, all of a sudden you have a lot of debris in the solar system, in space. Debris that's raining back down on planets and moons, you have to clear out of here. And I think that's why we had an evacuation.
And our planet, I mean, we've had many civilizations that we haven't even discovered yet. Do you feel that our technology that we had from our ancient past, do you feel that it came from another solar system, or do you think it was discovered here on our planet and then become extinct through wars?
Well, I think that we've risen to higher levels of civilizations before, even way higher than what we are now on our own. But I think that these Anunnaki, Atlantean type beings came here at a time when we were completely downtrodden again, in a very low, dark place, and just climbing back out of the gutter again. They caught us at the right moment. Well, for us, the wrong moment, for them, the right moment. They came to a planet that had a lot of resources, because planets know how to heal themselves. They were mining this planet, and at some point, they decided to take the existing hominid that was already here. They didn't create us. They modified us. We're GMO, unfortunately. And but I think that what they actually did was, I think they disconnected us from the universe. They disconnected our higher sensory perception. That's why we have a lot of this quote-unquote junk DNA. I truly believe that a lot of the hominids at that time were much more advanced than us, not technologically, because they were just starting back out to rebuild or come back out, but I'm talking about connecting to nature, connecting to higher realms, connecting to higher consciousness. Right. I think that they were more in tune with nature, just like flocks of birds and tortoises and everything else. They're more in tune with nature. They can navigate the globe and everything else. I think that, so basically they disconnected us from that, so they can, and they then gave us a chromosome limit. Chromosome number 2, they fused it together. They made something called a telomere to telomere fusion. Right. Scientists have already now vetted this. This is vetted, peer-reviewed science, and they capped each side of that chromosome with a telomere which has genetic buffer material. Now, this genetic buffer material only allows a human under pristine conditions to live 120 years. So when you go into the biblical texts and the Sumerian tablets, when the Babel of incident, the people were living hundreds of years until Enlil comes back, who's also known as Yahweh in the Bible, and he says, tear down this tower, and now mankind shall not live more than 120 years. It says it in the tablets, it says it in the Bible. The Bible copied it from the tablets. But scientists at Harvard now verify this is an actual fact. And they've now found a way to stop the telomeres from shrinking. The telomere basically is buffer. So every time your DNA replicates, some of that buffer material shrinks, and it continues to shrink your entire life until it's empty. When it's empty, you die. They've stopped it in mice.
Really?
Yeah, they've learned. So they've got mice living 3-4 times their normal lifespans at Harvard in the laboratory,
right.
Which now, most likely, if they can release that to us, they've already done, or can do it to a human being. So basically what it means is that we're now learning how to reverse what they did to us. But the problem only is now is if we don't take back control of this planet from the elites, they're going to start selling us time.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. And just on Truth Be Told, this is why we love having people like this, because we learn as you learn. And this is Billy Carson. So where can people find more information about your work and upcoming lectures?
Look at forbiddenknowledge.com with the number 4, forbiddenknowledge.com. Also Instagram, Forbidden Knowledge, Facebook and Twitter, Forbidden Knowledge. I do have a book out now called Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, which is actually in full production, so for printing. So you can look that up, but you can get the pre-order on my website, forbiddenknowledge.com with the number 4.
Perfect. Well, this is Tony Sweet with Captain Ron here at Contact in the Desert. This is Truth Be Told. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.